Hello there, Graham Roberts Phelps again here, talking a little bit more about report writing. Now, reports can come in many shapes and sizes. They can be very simple, 1 or 2 pages. It can be very long and complex. You may not even call them reports. Sometimes they're called a case study or a summary or an inquiry document and so on and so forth. But there is one tool that's really useful to help you write a report, and maybe a first draft of a report, which, let's be honest, is always the hardest part. Where do you start? So the first thing is we need to think about the topic, what it is we're talking about. And this is then central to everything. We use this as a conductor, if you like, as a filter for all the other information that we put in our report or may put in our report. If it doesn't support the topic, if it's not what we're talking about central, then we leave it out. The second is information. And once again, we need to be very clear on making the information relevant to the topic in the report. Our reader or readers will have a limited attention span. I mean, really limited. Okay. They will just simply skim your report, worst case, looking at the diagrams, the pictures, the headings, the tables, the bullet points. They will have a limited amount of time they can set aside to study and review the information. Now, of course, some readers are required to study in detail and in depth the findings and information in your report. And that is probably best put in the appendices. So you have kind of 2 versions intrinsically built into your report. A shorter executive, if you like, read in the first half of the report, the main body, and then all the supporting data information at the back end. But even with that being true, it is really important to make sure that you only keep the most important information in your report, and the information you have is well structured. The simplest way is to go by order of priority. So if you said here are 6 problems we currently encounter with our existing software system, those 6 items should be in order of importance, the impact and seriousness, if you like. This is the inference most people have. Now, once you've done that, you can then say, do the bottom 2 or 3 really need to be in there? Are they that important? We need to cover them. Would it be more impact to have a sentence that said, here are the 3 main problems we face? Would that put more attention where you want it to go? Now, the P is for purpose. Always, always, always keep coming back to why am I writing this document or report? What is the purpose? What do I want someone to do? What do I want them to think? How do I want them to react or act? What actions do I want someone to take? And put that clearly and explicitly in the report right from the beginning. My goal in writing this report is to encourage you to get you, to give you the confidence, to inform you, to overturn this decision, whatever it is. Otherwise, reading a report is a bit like looking for a black cat in a dark room. And in many cases, people give up because they're convinced the black cat doesn't exist, right? So really make sure that the purpose of the report is really overt. As specific as you possibly can. Now, the ending of a report is often called a conclusion, but often it's also an indication of what happens next. So it's the end of the report, but the start of the next action. So make sure that your ending has that sort of connection. It has some sort of project plan, timeline, further steps, what happens now, actions required, and a good summary, and I mean a short summary of the main points from the proposal or report. In some ways, it's like an executive summary. What do you often see people do when they read a report or a document, a report, a proposal, a summary, any kind like that, is they get it land on their desk, and let's say it's 7 or 8 pages, and they look down the table of contents and they see that page 8 is the conclusion. They turn to page 8, right? So the page 8, the ending, the conclusion, should have a short summary of main points, and therefore what this means is and the next steps, and your recommendation or the team's recommendation is literally in 2 or 3 sentences. Now, of course, there'll be a lot more information elsewhere in the report, but this is your kind of pull-out guide that the time-strapped decision maker can use to really get to the key issues in the report quickly and easily. And if you like, it's the only thing the report should have in common with a novel. Okay, you've got that big conclusion, that big da-da right at the end. And if you want to save people lots of time, take the big da-da at the end and put it into the executive summary on page 2 or 3. So, Tipe, topic, information, purpose, and ending. These are the things to draft your report and then finesse it and add to it. But that's the key structure for a good business report.